I don't have any like good or bad thoughts to it. I think I was just opening myself up to more than Akron because Akron is so small. I'm right by the biggest one is Cleveland, but I didn't want to put Cleveland because I didn't want people to assume they were going to Cleveland and be like, oh my gosh, you're in Akron. This is totally, a whole different amount of time. So that was the only thing where I was just like, well, I'll put Ohio so that anybody in Ohio knows that they could travel to me. But if you think I should put Akron on there, it's just so small.
Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I am your host, Carly LeBlanc, and I'm so excited to have you here because you all know that today's episodes is one of my absolute favorites because I get to sit down and chat with people like you who are listening to this podcast and really just dive in on your social media profile. And today we're doing some real-time social media auditing with the amazing Leia Love. Leia is the owner of Leia Love Hair and Nail Salon in Ohio, and she has been in the industry for over 20 years. And recently, she's expanded into something that is so incredibly impactful by offering 3D areola tattoos for breast cancer survivors. And she's ready to niche down and market the service, but more strategically. So we sat down and took a deep dive into her Instagram strategy and refined her profile, but we also talked about how to create content that actually converts for her industry and work through the challenges of showcasing her work without being flagged for nudity. So in this episode, you're going to learn how to optimize your Instagram profile so potential clients know exactly what you do and where you do it, content tweaks that you can make to increase engagement, like including hooks, captions, and using highlights effectively in your business. You're also going to learn some creative ways to share before and after results without getting flagged by social media platforms, and how to focus your marketing efforts on what's already working to attract consistent leads. So if you've been struggling to connect the dots between your unique service and the clients who need it most, then this episode is going to be for you. So let's get into it. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something special for all of my side hustlers out there. Are you building a business while working a 9-to-5 and you're tired of wasting time on marketing strategies that don't actually move the needle? Then you're going to want to get plugged into my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I'm giving you the real behind the scenes scoop on what's actually working in marketing and business. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just real strategies, insights I'm testing in my own business, and practical tips that you can apply right away. If you want to work smarter and not harder and finally start seeing momentum, then head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/newsletter and get locked in. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Well, hello, Leia, and welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Leia's social media page. So before we get started, Leia, I did want to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about what you do, where you're based, and where can the people find you on socials?
Yeah, so my name is Leia Love, and I own Leia Love Hair and Nail Salon. I am located in Fairlawn, Ohio, which is right in between Cleveland and Akron. I have a salon that I have owned for 13 years, and I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 21 years now. And recently, I've expanded into offering paramedical tattooing. Are you familiar with that?
Not really, no.
Okay, so it's 3D areola tattooing for women and men who've had breast cancer. They've had a mastectomy. I will go back in and tattoo on a realistic looking areola nipple. And I also do cosmetic tattooing like micro shading for your brows and hair, waxing, all the other services that are in a traditional salon.
I love that. That's so different. Like I've worked with so many people in the beauty industry, and so this will be my first time working with someone that does what you do. So I'm super excited. So let's dive in. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is it that you find yourself wanting to be known for within the next 5 to 10 years?
I want to be known for the areola tattooing.
Okay. So areola tattooing. Okay. And that's a good niche because it's very niche specific. There's not a lot of people doing it. So that's what really separates you and makes you unique and different. And so with that, what do you think is your biggest marketing struggle right now?
Being able to showcase my before and afters, getting kind of banned on social media for nudity, and then like trying to figure out the words that I should use as alternatives or just even some alternative ways to market, but still get the message across and bring awareness to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And that's why I was also saying like this is something new. I've never had, anyone that has asked the question, because I read your form and you were asking about how can you avoid from being flagged for nudity. And I'm like, that is such a good question. I've never had to think about that. So and we're gonna dive into that. And so my last question, or actually that was my last question. So I know when you filled out the form, you had 2 pages that you included in the form. Is there a specific reason why you have 2 separate pages?
So I had my salon. Well, basically on the Leia Love Beauty, I showcase everything: the hair, the areolas, business tips, education, stuff like that. And then on the artistry page, I focus just on the cosmetic tattooing, I should say,
Hmm.
all of that on there.
So why do you want them to be like 2 separate pages?
Because I find that the audience who wants to learn more about the tattooing, they're not the same audience as hair. And it's like people with hair or business or stuff like that, they don't want to necessarily see all of that. So I
Hmm.
was told to create a separate page that could just be focused on that so that they could just see all of that work, not have to like
Okay.
scroll through and deep dive for all of that.
Okay. Okay. Because my suggestion was going to be that, and that's the main reason why I asked you what you want to be known for. Because, so many times we find ourselves like, doing all these services because we can. But if it doesn't align with the overall vision, then that's what really should help us to decide if we should be doing those things or not. Because say for instance, if I am, doing maternal, photography, and then next thing you know, I'm doing grad shoots, and then I'm doing lifestyle content, and then I'm doing, all the other things, like I can't give 100% of my all and all of my energy into one thing. So I like to tell my clients, like, when it comes to business and what you want to be known for, that would be the first place to start, because then once you figure that out, you can figure out, what type of content you need to be posting, who are you supposed to be targeting, what kind of messaging you need to put out there. And so I think that since you, like you said, are wanting to be known for, the areola tattooing, then I think that that should be your main focus, because I really think that you are going to be able to fill that gap and really position yourself as an expert, because that's something I haven't even seen. And even in Houston, where it's such a huge market, like I still haven't, come across anyone that does anything like that. So what are your thoughts about niching down and focusing or honing in specifically on the areola tattooing rather than the other, like, services that you offer? Like, it's not to say that you can't offer those services, right? But it's talking about, like, as far as your bread and butter, how you market yourself, how you position yourself in the marketplace. What are your thoughts about niching down specifically for areola tattooing?
I don't mind that, which is where I think maybe we could just focus then on the artistry page, only for the simple fact too that understanding some of their other additional challenges, that somebody who's going through cancer is going to have hair issues, they're going to have
Mm-hmm.
skin issues, stuff like that. So that they know that they still have a holistic approach
Mm-hmm.
option when they come to me. I guess on the other page, I don't necessarily have to focus too much on like actually building that, but I can, and they kind of share similar things, so I don't mind. But as a side note too, I educate for a hair color company,
Okay.
so I still have to have that presence on there as part of my contract with them.
I see. Okay. And you're talking about like you do like hair coloring like for your actual hair.
Mhm.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
educate for Matrix, so
Okay.
I still go around and teach for them. And really, just because I don't think I'll ever give up hair 100%.
Mhm.
I just love it still. I love everything beauty, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
that's cool
so
too. I mean, you
hair and
could,
areolas are like hair color and areolas are my two things that I'm really known for.
yeah. And
So,
that's, I feel like that's what really kind of makes you unique. Even if you're able to like mesh, the two and intertwine them all. I just always try to tell, like, when it comes to my clients, even with me, like I have two separate pages. It's so much to handle. And if you could just focus on one, like you're really able to put your best foot forward instead of like, I got to post over here. I got to post over there. I got to post over here. I got to keep up with the engagement over here. I got to do this over here. So that's why I was saying maybe if you would
yeah,
just
so
niche down and
let's
focus on
focus
one.
on the artistry. We'll
Okay,
just focus on
perfect.
that Leia Love
Perfect.
artistry
So
one.
we're focusing on Leah Love Artistry, which is amazing. So I want to kind of get into some of the things that I saw looking at your page. And let me pull it up here so I can kind of go off of what I was looking at before. So first of all, let's talk about your profile picture. Absolutely love it. I think it's a beautiful photo, very professional. I can identify, your industry based off of your photo. I don't think you need to make any changes there. Okay, with the name, and when we're talking about the name, we're talking about the bolded part. And so right now it says Ohio 3D areola, scar camouflage, and then ombre brows, which I love, love, love that you have those keywords in your bio. I think you're doing phenomenal there. The only piece of feedback that I would offer is I don't know how big Ohio is, but is it possible that you could like specify where in Ohio you're based? Because like say for instance, if I just put Texas content creator, Texas is so huge, are you in Dallas? Are you in Austin? Are you in Houston? Are you in, Waco? So that way people are able to identify where you are. And then if you want to put in your bio part that, you travel for your services or things of that sort, that would really give people some insight. But again, I don't know how big Ohio is. Maybe Ohio isn't as big as Texas. I don't know. But what are your thoughts about kind of adding the city and putting the city in your name versus just putting Ohio? Okay, sis, let me put you onto something real quick. Posting on social media is cool, but if that's the only place that you're marketing your business, then you are leaving money on the table. The truth is that social media is a rented space, but your email list, that's a platform that you actually own. And that's why I'm hosting a live virtual training called Email Marketing Made Easy, how to set up your system and start selling online. This virtual training is happening on Tuesday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is the perfect time for you to finally set up your email marketing tool, get your automations running, and start attracting leads into your business. I'm also going to be sharing the exact strategies that I use to sell out my in-person event in just 7 days and how I grew my email list to over 700 subscribers in my first year of using email marketing. And by the end of this training, you're going to have your email system set up, automated, and ready to bring in sales. So head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/email marketing to grab your spot. Don't wait, get your seat now, and I'll see you on the other side.
I don't have any like good or bad thoughts to it. I think I was just opening myself up to more than Akron because Akron is so small. I'm right by the biggest one is Cleveland, but I didn't want to put Cleveland because I didn't want people to assume they were going to Cleveland and be like, oh my gosh, you're in Akron. This is totally, a whole different amount of time.
Yeah.
That's, so that was the only thing where I was just like, well, I'll put Ohio so that anybody in Ohio knows that they could travel to me. But if you think I should put Akron on there, it's just so small.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress. And I mean, that's fine, but it gives people a sense of like where they're traveling. Because even if someone says Ohio, they'll still have to go out their way to message you and be like, well, where are you based in Ohio? You know? And so, like I said, do you travel for services sometimes?
No, because I have stipulations with the Department of Health of things that I have to go through approvals
Okay.
for sanitation reasons.
Okay. So maybe you could put I mean maybe you could keep Ohio in your name and just put act like your location like located
It's
in
Akron,
Akron,
Ohio.
Ohio. That way cuz the only thing is that you want to be able to, capture all of the people in that area, but you also want to make sure that you're making it easy for people to find the information that they need. So
So is
I
that
would
like an Akron, comma Ohio, or does it matter
mhm.
if it's that little?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, you can put the line, the vertical line, or you can put a comma. And I think that that would be really good. Let's see. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is your bio. So I think your bio is great. I love your breast friend. I love that. And then you also have, what exactly it is that you do. So you find beauty in the scars, realism, 3D, paramedical nipple tattoo, and then you have stretch marks, inkless, micro shading, which I think phenomenal. The only piece of feedback is that I would change your call to action. So either book your consultation now or schedule your appointment now or something like that. So they know exactly what you want them to do next. Like, what is the next step when someone is on your page? Do they have to schedule a consultation with you, or is it in person, or what is the next step?
All right. So here's the thing. We can say book your consultation,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have like three more characters. Should I just do book your consultation with the arrow down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that works.
The problem is when you keep running out of all of your characters to use and
Yes,
you're like trying to create. I was like,
that's
I don't have
me.
as many as everybody else.
Listen, I literally change my bio probably once a week because I feel like every day I wake up, I'm feeling inspired and I'm like, oh, we need to zhuzh it up a little bit. So I believe you, okay? And I'm in there with you. I'm like, dang, I ran out of characters.
Oh, it's irritating.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I think that that's all you need there. I can identify. Oh, that was the one thing. So, okay, here's another thing. So maybe you could get rid of either line 1 or line 2 because you also have to make sure you make room to put Akron, Ohio in your bio too. I don't know if you already added that in there.
I put it in the name, but I didn't put it in the bio part.
Oh, well, if you put it in the name, that's fine. Because I
Okay.
didn't even know if you had enough characters to put it in the name. Because I think they only give you 60 for the name. But if you put it in the name, then don't worry about putting it in the bio. Just as long as it's somewhere within the first places of where people see it, I think that's fine.
Okay, refresh your screen. See if those changes added
Okay,
in.
let's see. Yep. So it says Akron, Ohio, 3D areola, scar camouflage, ombre brows. Yep. I think that's good. I think that's good. Looking good, my friend. Girl, she moving quick. I love it. Okay, so let's get into the next thing, which is going to be highlights. So a lot of people don't think about using highlights, but highlights are there to work for you when you're closed or when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and someone's looking for a solution to their problem. And so when I think about highlights, I think about the most common questions or the most common things that people need to see to take that next step. So think about frequently asked questions. Think about before and after. Think about testimonials. Think about like education and things of that sort. So those are a little bit, a couple of things that I would have highlighted to my page. And then with that, you can use the like the highlight covers can be something along with like your brand colors or your logo, just to kind of keep it clean and aesthetically pleasing when someone lands on there. But I definitely think that you should utilize the highlight area so that way you can showcase the things that people want to see whenever they are inquiring about your service. Now, the only thing here is that when it comes to highlights, you want to make sure that you are kind of keeping those up to date, because sometimes we think like, oh, put it there, leave it and forget it. But maybe if you set a reminder that you go in like every 6 to 12 months to update your highlights, just so that way you're keeping it fresh. Because I mean, sometimes I went back and audited my own personal brand. I had stuff in there from like 2019. I'm like, girlfriend, like this is old. Take it off. Okay. So I would say utilize your highlights so that way you can really kind of seal the deal for people that land on your page, and give them all the information that people need to see in order for them to be like, oh, yeah, I want her to do my areola tattoos. I don't know. Did you have highlights on your other page?
Yeah.
Okay. So why you didn't have highlights on this one?
I hadn't got there yet.
Okay. I'm gonna let you make it.
Honestly, I just finally settled on the highlights that I have on the other page.
Okay.
That whole aesthetic thing is like, oh gosh, I hate this. Right? Is this not? I'm setting my reminder now for every 6 months.
Yeah, 6 to 12 months. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, every so often, but like maybe, when you're working on a client and you get a testimonial, you put it on your story and then just highlight it. And the good thing about highlights is that even if you don't put it within that first 24-hour period, you can always go back and add them later on. So I really love that option on Instagram. But I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of people sleep on is the highlights. And those are amazing to kind of help you, seal the deal for your leads.
All right.
Okay, so that's pretty much all of the things that I would say for profile optimization. Those are the key things that I see that I would tweak a little bit, which you've already, implemented. So kudos to you. So let's get into the content strategy. Okay, so and when I'm talking about content strategy, I typically just look at like the most recent 9 to 12 posts. So I don't go all the way down, but I'll see like the most recent content that you have posted. And so one of the first things that I saw was that your first post that you posted 5 days ago, this was a picture, but you posted it as a reel. And so I'm going to tell you, and it didn't have any like sounds or anything. It was just a photo that was posted as a reel. I want you to keep your photos as photos and then your reels as reels, because the thing is that when you post a photo as a reel, it doesn't like get any engagement because one, the thing that helps people engage is either the hook or the trending audio or things of that sort. So I would say if you're going to use a photo, maybe have like a video in the background or something. But yeah, make sure you keep the photos as the photos and then the reels as the reels. And then if you want to use the photos, just make sure you have a video and then you put the photo on top. And like a good example I can show you, if you're not understanding what
no, I get it.
Okay.
When I posted it,
I didn't realize, but I just want to make sure. Nope. Okay.
When I posted it, I didn't realize it was a reel until afterwards, and so it's just me being lazy. I just left it.
Okay, I got you. No, thank you for your transparency.
That's it. It was just pure laziness.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. And so the next thing that I love that you incorporate voiceovers. I think it's such an amazing way to tell a story about, your services. The only thing and this reel that you did here is phenomenal. Like the transitions and all of the things, it keeps you engaged. It's like, girl, what you got going on? Oh my gosh. Only thing I would add is to add captions. So there's about 78% of people that are watching reels are watching without audio. And so if you don't have the captions on your, videos where you're talking, they're just going to swipe up. So I really want you to make sure that whenever you post your reels and it's like you talking about something, always make sure you're including captions, always. The next thing is I would add also hooks to your videos. So like, see how on your cover photo, you have new technique, right? But when I actually see it, because this is how it comes up on my screen when I see it, I have no idea what this video is about. And so if at the beginning, like maybe the first 5 seconds, you can have, a hook that, let's say, for instance, this is a new technique that eliminates redness when getting your areola tattoo or something like that. You want to make sure your hook is something that's going to draw in your potential clients. So it addresses like a problem area that people experience that are a part of your audience. So maybe people are like, oh, I got areola tattoos before and I was in pain for 6 weeks. Maybe a hook that you can use is, here's a new technique of areola tattooing that cuts down your pain recovery time in half or something like that. So basically take a problem from your audience and turn it into a hook, and then add the words on your videos for the first like 1 to 3 to 5 seconds, just so people know what the video is about.
Okay, so here's my problem. How I'm not creative with hooks. Those hooks and
Mm.
captions are probably
Mm-hmm.
my other biggest struggle.
Okay.
So what tips do you have with those?
Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off. So and this may sound very like, not cliche, but I use ChatGPT anytime I'm stuck. I use ChatGPT for my content strategy. So I'll just kind of put in a preliminary of what I'm trying to say. And I'll be like, hey, I want a hook that's going to draw in my potential client. This video is going to be about me addressing like why you do have time to create content and you just have to be strategic, or why you do need to be on social media, even though you don't like to be on social media. So I'll kind of just like put a preliminary like brainstorming idea and then see what it kicks back. And then depending on what it kicks back, I mean, sometimes I'll have to go back and forth like 2 or 3 times before it actually sounds like me. But I do that for my hooks. I also do that for my captions. And then in my captions, I'll also ask ChatGPT, like, make sure you're including keywords that people are searching for something that's similar. So for instance, make sure you're putting keywords of things that people are searching for whenever they're looking for social media content or content creation services or things of that sort. So that way you can make sure that you're including keywords in your caption that helps you to show up in the search engine on the explore page when people are searching for your services. And then also the hooks are hooks that are going to actually capture people that are interested in your services. Okay, moving along. So I have a couple more things. When it comes to your what was I about to say? Testimonials. So one thing that a lot of people don't think about is creating content of testimonials. Now, I tell people ahead of time, this piece of content may not get a lot of like engagement, but it is a good piece of content to have on your page to, one, show that people love your services, that you're working with people, and then two, also to kind of give people the experience of what it's like working with you. So this could be you capturing a video content, obviously with their clothes on, but you're capturing a video of your client and they're like, oh my gosh, like I was very insecure about going through surgery, and you just boosted my confidence. Or maybe it's like something that they typed on Google and you take a screenshot of the review and put it on a video of you in the back working on it. Doesn't even have to be that client, but maybe it's just you like working on a client, or you like prepping your tools or something like that. Those are other ways that you can implement it, testimonials on your page. But I definitely think that having testimonials on your page is going to definitely help you boost and show people that, one, you're working with clients, and two, that people absolutely love your services. So what are your thoughts about that?
I was trying to figure out different ways to use the testimonials as opposed to just putting that up there, but I like that of it behind me. And that could kind of be just like a signature thing. I could just do the reviews with a video of me working.
Mm-hmm. And another thing is, since you like voiceovers, you can put the screenshot of the review, and maybe in the back you're telling the story about that person. Like, oh, this person was diagnosed with breast cancer. She came in because, she had this surgery a couple years ago and she really wanted to feel confident again. And so we did this service and she walked away feeling absolutely amazing. And thank you, so and so, for trusting me, to complete this procedure on you. And if you are ready to take the next step to, securing your areola tattoos, make sure you comment blah, 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 blah to schedule your consultation or something like that. And that's another thing. You can use ChatGPT also to help you come up with the scripts for your voiceovers. I love using them for that as well. So I'll just basically tell it what I wanted to say and then be like, make it sound like me. And then and then it gives me a whole script of what I can say. And I just read off that baby while I'm recording, my voiceover. And, that's pretty much it. What do you think about that?
That's good.
Okay, perfect. And then the last thing before we hit into how to get around the nudity flagging, is I definitely want to see. I love, love, love the behind the scenes content. So I will want to see more content. I think one of the videos that you posted was that you had went to, was it London? Yes, you went to London to go learn a new technique. I love that. So even if you can kind of show us, like, you going to the airport, you on the airplane, you arriving to your hotel, like, tell us a story about, what happened, that whole, like, if you're going for a training, who did you meet with? I love the fact that you did the voiceover and you did it with the clips, but I would love to see kind of like that mini vlog type of content, because it gives us like a behind the scenes of like what it's like to actually have a business like you. And people can kind of see, like, hey, she takes her business, serious. She's traveling around the world to go learn something so she can take care of me. And so I think that would be really good content that you can include, even if you go to conferences or if you are speaking on podcasts and panels and things of that sort. People love content like that.
Okay.
And then also make sure whenever you are using your captions, make sure that you also use hashtags, because hashtags are not outdated. So use hashtags. You want to have hashtags that are specific to your location, what you do. And you can kind of also include like a branded hashtag. So that way, like, if people want to search like your business, they can search hashtag, your business and see all of your work there too. But make sure you're using anywhere between 5 to 7 hashtags in your content. So that way it helps you to kind of show up more in the search engine as well. And when you think about the hashtags that you want to use hashtags of keywords that people are searching. So if I am somebody that has went through breast cancer and wants to get my areolas tattooed, what keywords, what words am I searching? And then basically take those words and create hashtags that you add into your content.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into the nudity
Oh, good
flagging.
question. So, does it matter where you put your hashtags, whether it's in the caption or in a comment?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Most people say it would be better to put it or in the caption, but I've seen, the same similar results with commenting. So, and I feel like also Instagram makes all of these rules and people are like the gurus and it's confusing. So, I think as long as the hashtags are under the post, you're fine.
Okay.
And then let's see. So I was looking up because I was not familiar, to be completely transparent. I was like, I don't even know what to do when it comes to the nudity flagging. So some of the ideas that I found when I was looking it up was that maybe you could include like a disclaimer in your caption that basically says that, this post contains healed results of a medical procedure, and clients have consented to share the results. I was thinking about this because in my previous life, I had a mentor who was an emergency medicine doctor, and he did a lot of like trauma content while he was in Iraq. And so a lot of the content that he would post would be like, people's legs being like, burnt off, and, gun wounds and blood and all of the things. And so whenever I would see his content, it was always like blurred, and then it would ask you for permission, like if you want to see, the content. So maybe that would be one way that you can kind of go around that. Now I don't know how to do that, but I do know that is one way that you can, avoid yourself from being flagged, is like putting that disclaimer in there, and then kind of doing some research on how people do that, because I don't really know. But when you do find out, definitely let me know so I can, keep that in my back pocket. And then another thing is that, and I really like this idea. So if you say, for instance, are doing a service and it's a video and you're doing a voiceover and you're like, if you want to see the final results, comment this word, and it basically sends them like a message it sends them a message, or you can send them to like your insider community or something. I
What do
like
you use
this.
for that? Manny chat?
Yes, yes, yeah. You don't like mini chat?
I just couldn't figure out how to set up my flows for some reason always kept like messing up.
I see. Okay, well, maybe I'll have to do a tutorial because that's not the first time. That's not the first time I've heard that. Because ManyChat, I love ManyChat, love, love, love. But maybe you could do that, and then in order for them to like get the results, you have to get their email. That way you can kind of build your email list, and it's like a double duty type of thing. You show your work, but then also you get that engagement, and then you also get their email address. I love that idea. And so those are kind of like the main two things I saw. I know people are saying like to put blurs, and that defeats the purpose because we want to show our work, we want to show the things. So I don't think like cropping the photos or blurring them out is going to be beneficial to you, because the whole point is that you have to show your work. So let me know how that works. I'm definitely interested in knowing about that.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. If you've been showing up on socials and still not getting the results you want, I want you to listen up, because I'm offering free social media audits exclusively for my side hustler listeners. If you're not sure if your page is actually attracting the right clients, or if your content feels all over the place, or you just want to make sure that you're on the right track when it comes to building your brand, I got you. These audits are where I go in and I look at your page and I give you the personalized feedback on what's working, what needs to shift, and how to start creating content that actually converts. I'll also drop a few tips and strategies that most people aren't sharing, because I want to see you win. And the best part about it, it's free, my friend. So head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/audit and secure your audit today. And then the last thing I want to get into is the marketing strategy. So I know that you put in your form that you were struggling to try to get a consistent leads. So where do most of your leads come from as of right now? Like if you could take
Referrals.
a audit over the last 6 to 12 months, where have your leads come from?
For the aerials are referrals.
Referrals. Okay. From like doctors, friends,
Yep,
family,
from a
online.
plastic surgeon and physical therapist.
Okay. And how were you able to make that connection with those people?
The good Lord, plastic surgeon was a connection of a client.
Okay.
And then the physical therapist was another connection of another client. So through my
Okay.
clients, yeah.
Okay. So I think that that's a good, so that's another thing. If you are seeing that your leads are coming from a certain place, majority of your leads are coming from a certain place, then that tells you that you need to spend more time in, amping up those efforts rather than trying to reinvent other wheels that don't actually work. And so if you're noticing that most of your leads are coming from referrals from these practitioners, then I would definitely double down on making those connections. Another thing that you could do is like, I don't know if you toyed at the idea of like maybe partnering with a foundation or a nonprofit that supports like breast cancer survivors. And then trying to see like, if they're having a conference, or if they have, a audience, maybe you could collab on like a podcast or a workshop or something. So that way you can tell people that, this is what you do. Like, and it's kind of like a workshop, like how to get your confidence. Maybe it's like, how to get your confidence back after being recovering from breast cancer or something along those lines, where you're like addressing a problem that they have and then you're offering yourself as a solution. You could do that on Instagram Live. You can do podcasts. You could do, workshops, all kinds of things. So I think that if you position yourself and amp up those efforts, that would be, really beneficial. Now, when it comes to social media for your brand, you just want to make sure that whenever you do amp up those efforts, that they have a place to land to see your work. Because a lot of people think like we're supposed to be using Instagram to sell, and that's kind of true, but it's really a place where you use it as a portfolio to show people your work, to show, how serious you take your brand. And then with that, you're able to really seal the deal with that client. So don't be discouraged if you don't get any leads from socials, but use socials as a place to really put your content that people need to see to convert to paying clients, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what do you do if like you want to approach a brand or company or organization and they are looking for some media
Mm-hmm.
from you, but you don't necessarily have that media? Do you have any ways around that?
So I would start pitching myself to places so I can get that media. So one thing that, and it's basically like doing like a visibility kind of sprint, I guess you could say. So what I would do is kind of like maybe go on like a podcast tour where I'm talking about this, and I maybe do like a collab blog post. Maybe I'm doing a speaking engagement at a conference or something. But the way that you get media in that sense is like you're basically positioning yourself as this person that talks about these things. And so you need content that shows yourself talking about these things, so then when you pitch yourself you can be like, oh, I appeared on this podcast, I appeared at this conference, I appeared in this blog post, I appeared in this article. And that's pretty much how you would get that. But in order for you to do that, you got to make sure that you have the content on your page that positions you as an expert. So create the content, make sure your content looks good, clean, professional. And then once you have your content, start pitching yourself to these places to where you can, collaborate and do all the things. So that way, when you do, reach out, or when someone reached out to you about media, you have a media kit that shows all of the things that you've worked on before.
Okay. Thank you.
And so that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? How do you feel? What are your thoughts?
Do you have any other suggestions for the content or how the page looks?
Okay, so as far as the content goes, I think if you make those tweaks that we talked about, I think you'll be fine. Are you talking about like in the perspective of aesthetics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's my thoughts. My page is not aesthetically pleasing. I'm going to put this disclaimer out there because sometimes we get so wrapped up in like the aesthetics, it paralyzes us to not post content. And so if focusing on the aesthetics is going to put you in a tizzy to where you're like, I can't post this because it's next to this and it doesn't look good, don't focus on the aesthetics. Focus on the value of your content. Now, the good thing about Instagram is that you're always able to go back and add different cover photos if you want to make it, this whole spread of like aesthetically pleasing photos. But I necessarily would not focus on the aesthetics. I would not, because it can definitely get you in a place where you're like, I don't want to post anything because I don't want to mess up my feed. And that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. We're good to go there.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't focus on it. I mean, if you want some tips, the only thing that I would say, if you want to like kind of make it a little bit more cleaned up, is just make sure that you're using the same colors, which I mean, you obviously know. Make sure you're using the same colors, make sure you're using the same fonts. And that's pretty much it. And then you can kind of just like mix and match. So if you have a reel, just make sure you're using the same font with that reel for the next reel. If you're doing a carousel post or a graphic, make sure, it's kind of harder when you're doing the Canva graphics, but just make sure it's not like too crazy where you have like, your Canva graphic, it's in cursive. And then, all of the rest of your stuff is in like Times New Roman. Like whenever you're doing that, just try to keep the fonts similar and the colors, the same.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I think you answered them for now.
Awesome. Well, how do you feel?
I feel good.
Okay,
I just
good.
have to go in and do it.
Yes. I'm super excited. Well, thank you so much for hopping on today for this audit. And for all of our listeners that are listening, make sure that you follow Leia at Leia Love Artistry so y'all can hold her accountable. If y'all don't see her content, get on her. Tell her, sis, I was listening to your episode and I'm trying to make sure that you are doing what you need to be doing. But I think you're going to do great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler Podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.